This is the Invite Health Podcast, and I am Amanda Williams. On today's episode, I am going to talk about the impact to your hands from washing them so frequently. And we definitely encourage that you are practicing those healthy guidelines and you are frequently washing your hands. But we also know that this can be very harsh on the skin itself. So I want to talk to you about some different techniques that may be beneficial during this time. But before we get started, I just want to give you a friendly reminder to subscribe to the Invite Health Podcast. You can leave us a review. You can also follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at Invite Health. All of the information on today's episode will be in the episode description, and you can visit invitehealth.com/podcast for more information. So let's get right to it and let's talk about what a lot of people are starting to experience. It was interesting. I got this little press release that came across my desk the other day. Well, not across my desk, but across my computer. And it was coming from UCLA. And so that's the University of California, Los Angeles. And they were talking about how to care for dry hands after washing them so much. So a lot of people have not been exposed to this problem before. I certainly can understand myself because as a medical student, you are continuously washing your hands. And, even during your surgical rotation, you're using these very, very harsh cleansers on your hands, and you can tell after a while, the harsh cleansers, wearing gloves, all of these different things, it starts to strip the hands of the natural moisture. And for many people, overwashing our skin or overwashing our hands, you can start to develop cracks in the skin, which isn't a good thing either, because now we're giving bacteria basically an entry point into the body. Same thing with viruses. That's why the concern is right now that people continuously wash their hands, because we don't want to be able to pass this off from one person to the next. And the hands, we know, is a primary source of that. So this newsletter that came out, this press release out of UCLA, they're talking about why is hand washing so harsh on our skin, and talking about how the outermost layer of the skin is composed of oils and wax, and it is acting as this protective barrier, and it helps to guard the natural moisture of the skin. Well, when that natural barrier is broken down because of this continual hand washing, then people can start to experience excessive dry skin. And this is even more so in areas that are currently trending from winter into spring, and you're dealing with fluctuations in humidity. So for a lot of people, they can start to experience this as well. Maybe you're still using forced heat in your home, and so you have drier environment there, and then you go outside and maybe it's a little bit more moist, but then you're continuously washing your hands. So it's kind of just this setup for creating an issue with dry skin. And we know that many of the different agents that people are using right now when it comes to washing their hands can be incredibly drying. They can strip the skin of all of that moisture. And a lot of the alcohol-based hand washes, and if people are using the hand sanitizers, which has all of the alcohol in it, and some people are making homemade hand sanitizers right now using rubbing alcohol, and so you may start to see that difference when it comes to the dryness of your skins. And if you're starting to experience, dried, cracked skin along your hands or your fingers, then you want to make sure that you are taking care of your hands, because our skin is our largest organ, and we definitely want to make it a point to protect the skin. So we don't want germs to get on our hands, certainly not, but we also want to protect that really natural immune system barrier. And I'm going to give you a couple of tips as to how you can achieve this, but we're going to take a quick break. So we will be right back.
This podcast is brought to you by InviteHealth.com. For over 20 years, Invite Health has provided premium quality supplements and expert advice you can trust. Now, first-time customers can enjoy an exclusive offer. Visit invitehealth.com/podcast or click the link in this episode description. That's invitehealth.com/podcast for your exclusive offer on Invite Health products. Invite Health offers the resources you need to make important decisions about your health. Chat live with degreed healthcare professionals, get product information, and find retail locations near you at invitehealth.com. You can also learn about our new genetic testing program and our exclusive Invite Fitness Wellness program. Follow Invite Health on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, and be sure to subscribe to our podcast today. Now back to our episode.
And welcome back. Now let's talk about it. Everyone's been washing their hands for at least 20 seconds, lukewarm water, using soap. And we know that doing this repeatedly throughout the day can lead you down that road to having dry skin. And even the American Academy of Dermatology has posted their bit of information as to what people can be doing when your skin is getting dry and cracked. And we know that once we have a breakdown in that barrier of the skin, we are now more open to infections. So bacteria and viruses have an easier time getting in when we have dry, cracked. Now, what they suggest, and even what UCLA suggests, is that you should use a hand ointment or a cream. And they said that the creams are more effective even than the lotions. And they are talking about how beneficial this can be to really allow that protective barrier of the skin, that moisture barrier, to reinvigorate itself. But the problem that neither UCLA or from the American Academy of Dermatology that they address is if we have skin that is dried out and we start to put these different hand moisturizers on, are we putting chemicals directly onto our skin? And this is where I always have the issue, because people are really quick to use a lot of creams and lotions and, even in the case of makeup, and you don't pay attention to the actual harmful chemicals that are contained within those. We want to make sure that when we are trying to reestablish that healthy barrier in the skin, that we are applying only clean nutrients. And you want to have this protective layer. We certainly do. But we don't want to do that for the sake of using things that contain petroleum, alcohol, colorants, artificial colors, fragrance. I mean, did you understand that fragrance is basically just chemicals? So when you smell something in a hand cream or a shampoo or anything like that, and it has that scent to it, that is a chemical-based scent. And manufacturers, by law, do not have to actually even tell you what is contained in these said fragrances. We understand the long-term implications of these chemical exposures, which is why we do not have in our hand cream any type of alcohol, any parabens, no fragrance, no sulfates, no harsh, dangerous, toxic ingredients. And that means a lot to our skin. Remember, this is our largest organ in the entire body, and we want to make sure that we are doing what we can to protect that large organ. So we know we've been washing our hands often. People are experiencing dry hands, dry fingers, maybe even down by the cuticles of your nails. You feel like they're getting a little bit dried or cracked. We don't want to expose ourselves to further issues, further complications. So we want to allow the skin that ability to rehydrate itself, reestablish that moisture barrier. So let's talk about some ways that you can go about doing that. Let's think about things such as an English perennial garden and all of the beautiful herbs that one can find in an English perennial garden. And we think about things that are food-based, and we think about different herbs. I'm going to name a few different things to you. Let's say Cabernet, Chardonnay, Merlot. Most people are going to right away say, okay, you're talking wine. And for some people, you may say, you're speaking my language. We have this really fabulous Italian fine wine blend that we put into our formulation to enhance the skin's ability to fend off oxidative stress and to allow the skin to be able to react to exposures to harmful things. So Cabernet, Chardonnay, Merlot, combining that with things like chamomile extract, sage, nettle, rosemary, grapefruit extract. All of these naturally occurring herbs are in our formula to enhance the way that your skin can respond to that dryness. This also contains vitamin E, natural vitamin E, one of the most nourishing things for your skin. Aloe. Most people have heard about these things. If you have a cut, there's always that person in the neighborhood who had an aloe plant. If you had a little cut when you were a little kid, maybe you fell off your bike and scraped your knee. They say, put a little aloe on it. Well, there's a reason why. Because we know how effective that can be when it comes to reestablishing that protective barrier within the skin. And all of this means so much, especially during this time. So let's take a quick break. When we get back, I'm going to tell you a little bit more about how you can effectively use the Invite Protective Hand Cream. We will be right back.
This podcast is brought to you by InviteHealth.com. For over 20 years, Invite Health has provided premium quality supplements and expert advice you can trust. Now, first-time customers can enjoy an exclusive offer. Visit invitehealth.com/podcast or click the link in this episode description. That's invitehealth.com/podcast for your exclusive offer on Invite Health products. Invite Health offers the resources you need to make important decisions about your health. Chat live with degreed healthcare professionals, get product information, and find retail locations near you at invitehealth.com. You can also learn about our new genetic testing program and our exclusive Invite Fitness Wellness program. Follow Invite Health on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, and be sure to subscribe to our podcast today. Now back to our episode.
And welcome back. So we are talking about how to care for your hands, your skin during this time. Everyone is washing their hands on a frequent basis. You may be using harsher compounds when it comes to cleaning your hands, and this can have a negative effect on the health of your skin, which is our largest organ, once again. So we have this really wonderful protective hand cream that is extremely hydrating, and it doesn't leave you with that greasy feeling. A lot of people, they'll put on a real thick hand cream and it leaves the skin feeling just kind of oily and greasy, which is not a real nice feeling to have. Ours is this beautiful English perennial garden, basically put into a bottle with no harsh chemicals. So absolutely no parabens, no alcohol. Alcohol can be very drying once again. We're not using any petroleum. We have this European natural fruit blend. We have that chamomile, the rosemary, and the sage. All have been shown to be incredibly supportive to the skin. And we're talking about skin that's been exposed to harsh weather, skin that's been exposed to chemicals and harsh cleansers, and these powerful antioxidants and polyphenols that act as this protective barrier for your skin. So grapeseed oil is in this. I mentioned that it has the grapefruit oil in it. The chamomile, vitamin C, vitamin E. All of these nutrients to enhance the way that your skin can repair itself from this excessive hand washing. In the UCLA newsletter that came out, they were talking about humidity as well, and how that dry air can exacerbate the issue of dry skin. So if you are still in an area where you're using forced heat, we're definitely not experiencing that here in Florida, where it's been in the 90s and very, very humid. But in certain areas where you're still experiencing those very cold days and nights, and you are still using your heater, maybe you're using the heat in the car, you want to make sure that you are taking extra care, extra steps for the health of your largest organ, which is your skin. We encourage you to follow those guidelines and make sure that you are doing proper hand washing and that you, every time you touch something, that you go and you wash your hands for at least 20 seconds. But then we also encourage you to apply that protective hand moisturizer. So the Invite Health Protective Hand Cream Moisturizer, it is so lovely and it's hypoallergenic, meaning it's not going to block or clog your pores. You can apply it not just on your hands, you can certainly apply it to your arms, to your legs, to your face. And by doing so, this helps the skin and that protective barrier that is so required right now to remain hydrated and to have those main nutrients to fend off any type of pathogen. So I certainly encourage you to check this product out. It has such a lovely, natural scent to it. Remember, no fragrance. Fragrance is chemical that is undisclosed to the consumer. And we do not believe in putting chemicals on our skin. Remember, everything that goes onto the skin gets absorbed into the bloodstream. So we want to be smart right now. And we want to make sure that we are taking care of our skin. And an excellent choice in doing that is the protective hand cream. So that is all that I have for you for today. I'd like to thank you for tuning in to the Invite Health podcast. Remember, you can find all of our episodes for free wherever you listen to podcasts or by visiting invitehealth.com/podcast. Make sure you subscribe and leave us a review. You can follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at Invite Health. And we will see you next time for another episode of the Invite Health podcast.